The excluded middle, Ryan and Ryan, coming at you from the back shack.
That's so funny to me.
It's still funny to me too, man. Every time.
Mostly-
Can't tell from the smile by no means.
Mostly because I was like, why isn't this working?
Yeah. Oh, good times, Ryan.
Gotta turn the volume up.
Oh man, yeah, we got you get fired up. You're not even fired up, Ryan.
Did I hook the mics up this time? Good.
Yeah, we're good there. I checked all that before we started here. While you were messing around over there doing some stuff, I went ahead and jumped in there and made sure everything was working.
Well, I think before we say anything, we should say thank God for air conditioning.
Yeah. Dude, it's hot out there.
When I stepped in the back shack before I turned the AC on, it was 95 degrees.
Yeah.
It is now a cool 87.
I was thinking 85. So yeah.
Depends on what thermometer you look at up there.
Hey man, and then coming out of like, what is it out there today? Like 103 probably, something like that, dude.
I don't know if it's quite that hot. They said heat index 105. So.
Yeah. So there you go. So we're at around that 100, 105. And walking in from that into 87, you said?
Yeah, not terrible.
Man,
and we have an overhead fan going.
Feels pretty good to me.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
So in our world, it's Sunday.
Sunday.
It might be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before people see this, but yes, I still have one. I still have one that I could post to YouTube, and that would have been from what, Friday?
Yeah, we're staying one ahead at the moment.
Try to.
I'm doing pretty good with that too, man.
Yeah, but it does make it weird. You know, like we were talking about the 4th of July, and we posted that episode after the 4th of July. So here we sit, and there's like a lot of craziness going on.
Oh yeah, it's jumping off, man. It's jumping off today.
So,
or not today. I guess what was that? Yesterday.
Well, it's probably still popping off somewhere.
Yeah, man. It's getting wild
It was
out
an
there.
interesting day, I suppose, that you could mark down in the history books.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely going in the history books, man. It's getting wild in the streets. Getting wild in the streets out there.
Maybe only in Pennsylvania.
Man, I don't know, but then, but those ripples, like you hit it'd be like throwing a big old boulder in a lake. You know what I mean? That creates those huge ripples, almost waves, and just whoom, all of a sudden. And especially with the technology the way it is, social media and all that, man, everything news just happens just like that, and then just goes around everywhere. And then next thing you know it, everybody's talking smack on one another. That's what I think's crazy. Like the former president, soon to be hopefully the next new president, I guess, and is taking fire, and then all of a sudden everybody's against each other.
Well, they're already against each other.
Yeah, true, but to a whole nother level, though, man. It was weird.
The political climate is very polarized.
Yeah,
You know, for a long time there was like you had the left and right and kind of the middle.
yeah,
The middle doesn't exist because the left and right force them to choose. And you see that play out in so many different things, dude. I mean, not just politics. You see it play out in your friendship circles.
yeah, for real though, because
Especially, and I would say birds of a feather flock together. So the majority of my close personal friends are either middle right, or based. Is kind of the terms they use now. You know, I mean, they're not really neocons or any of that kind of stuff. And so I would say they're just good old boys.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
kind of felt the same way about stuff since they were born. And it was handed down from their parents and stuff like that, right? I'm just saying, I mean, that's it. So like for Trisha, her family's all from the left coast, California, and some of them are liberal, some are Republican. And she was talking about her grandma being Republican. And I said, but your grandma wasn't born there. You know, she was born in the Midwest.
Mm.
So the closer, you know, more in a Republican. And so then that causes us a little bit of family division,
yeah,
you know. And, I find it very interesting.
Yeah,
I try to get them to go to Texas. If they live in Cali, they need to go to the new Cali, which seems to be Texas.
everybody seems to be moving to Texas
The
and
new-
Florida.
Dude,
A lot of people are moving to Florida too,
that's
man.
the new New York. Everybody from New York left and went to Florida.
How it is?
Yeah. I don't know.
I know Florida's seems to be blowing up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people there. A lot of people in Texas too.
I like Texas.
Yeah.
I have some good friends down there.
You know, I just visited Florida towards the end of May there. I mean, I didn't go, too far out. I just went to a little spot there on the beach And it was really nice, man. I had a good time. Of course, nobody there was probably from Florida, though.
No, I doubt it. They hate people like us that go there and don't live there.
I had a good time, though. It was fun, man. Spent a lot of time on the waters.
Yeah, definitely. So like we can't not talk about what happened yesterday.
Yeah, man. And, I'll tell you this. I have not watched any news on it. What I've seen, maybe just turned it on Facebook a couple times last night, maybe once or twice this morning. And, but that's about all I tuned into.
I was honestly surprised that I watched it on CBS and I had my phone going at the same time. And I was really surprised at the lack of social media posts on my Facebook.
Huh.
And I don't know.
I
was surprised.
Yeah, because I was just
leaving it at that.
I just got a message on Messenger from a buddy I know. Well, from a couple people. One hit me up and said, "Man, did you see what happened?" And then I was like, no. And they're like, "Man, Trump just under fire. Not sure what happened, but shots fired." And then another buddy of mine, he was an old ex-military dude. He kind of chimed in what his thoughts were and stuff like that to me. And then and then I made a funny meme last night. I thought it was freaking hilarious. It had Donald Trump's face with like 50 Cent's body with the bulletproof vest on stage. With the gold, the white gold, and the cross hanging, and
honestly, Trish and I had a real good laugh about that.
Man, I thought it was funny. And then you can, like you said, like even friends, a guy I know or whatever, he put an angry face on there. And I was like, dude, besides, I didn't put anything political on there or anything. I just thought that was freaking hilarious. So I put it on there. But that just goes to show you
people's perception.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm so angry. I can't, you know what I mean? Like if you can't find any comedy in that and funny, man, come on. So, I don't even know that we can be friends anymore.
So, yeah, I know. Be angry about it. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I think I put a laughy face, but
yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
We were out to eat with some friends, and I mean, we weren't watching the TV, while we're eating, and we're on our way out, and they had it on the TV behind the bar there. Fox News said 4 loud bangs. Didn't say anything about a shooting yet.
Yeah,
and so we, Trish and I ran to the new house and put some stuff away, blah, 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 and then we came home. So from the time it happened until we got home was probably a couple hours. And, as soon as I poked the YouTube button, boy.
Oh, yeah, everybody's on. Everybody's on it.
And I subscribe to a lot of stuff that I don't agree with, but I like to watch to see what each side says.
See the perspectives out there.
And then I have my favorite. Most of the news I watch is commentary on the news, of course. And they fact check.
Yeah. Yeah, give them a second.
And so it was interesting seeing that. But even yet this morning, we didn't, not really anybody talked about it at church.
Yeah.
Which I think is the worst place to talk about those kind of things.
That's probably, I was going to say, that's probably a good thing, man.
I would imagine there's churches that probably preach sermons around it.
I mean, I don't know, man. I bet there was churches this morning praying for him. You know what I mean? I would think.
Well, we prayed for the political environment. Don't get me wrong, but on my YouTube feed this morning, there were there's a number of churches that I follow and individual channels. I don't know. They call themselves pastors. I don't know if they actually pastor a physical church. Some of them were saying that Trump is divinely protected.
Divinely, I've heard that too. Divinely protected,
and that God was looking out for him. Of course, you never know. That could very well be. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you think about it, as far as I know, there was a shooter up on top of some rooftop. Yeah.
Come out, and what I've heard, at first I heard it was like in the crowd, and then now I've heard it just from what I've seen is like 300 yards out or something like that.
Well, the crowd was out there.
Okay, I guess so. True story.
So the shooter was outside of the safety area that the Secret Service employs around the president, which is a distance. I don't even know what that distance is. I'm not even going to offer my conjecture on it,
Yeah.
And so the interviews were interesting because there was one guy, he goes, yeah, we literally watched the guy crawl up the side of the building with his rifle on his back, and we're pointing and yelling at him. And the guy said for 3 minutes, and I bet it was more like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because, like time starts ticking real slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Dang,
anyways,
someone seen him climbing up the ladder, going up to the top of the building.
well, I don't know if he was climbing up. I don't know. It was on a steel roof. Blah blah blah. I mean, by the time people watch this, it's all going to be out there anyway. So this is really just us offering our opinion after the fact. I mean, there's a part of me that is intrigued by it because I love historical things that happen in our lifetime. From any, I think what happened is terrible. I believe so strongly in preservation of life that I don't think that's the way that we should do our enemies. And I think the cause for war is, in my eyes, it shouldn't exist, right? It's going to because of human nature and different things, but I can't wrap my head around it. Now,
so the guy goes up. So the guy, based off what you've heard or whatnot, the guy goes up. Someone spots him, saying 3 minutes, but I'm with you. It's probably more like 30 seconds. Yeah. So the guy's all like, "Man, I got to move up here." Boom, pulls his gun out, sights him in, pulls the trigger, and then misses or hits Trump on the ear, right? But multiple shots were fired. I heard he got, like, they had a teleprompter there too that got smoked, and then the other shot went through and hit his ear or something like that.
Yeah, so I don't know if I would assume the shot that hit Trump was probably the first
first one,
and then as Trump moved, I think the guy probably rattled off some more honestly, I mean, maybe he just didn't at that point. It's like, I'm gonna kill who I can kill. So the other interesting thing I thought, and this is totally going down the political whatever perception trail, is the first reports of the weapon they used was all the news tickers said AR style rifle.
Yeah, AR-15,
AR-15 style rifle. And the one guy says M16, and I'm like, those aren't long yardage rifles, really.
Yeah.
And then also I would think if he was using that style rifle, he would have got off 50, not 4.
Oh yeah, it'd have been rapid.
Yeah. So I don't know, and maybe they've announced what it was, and they might be a while because of the investigations and all that. But yeah, so it is interesting for our moment in time in history.
Yeah. So then I also, going back to maybe divinely protected. But either way, I don't know. Can't really speak on that. I'm not sure, but I mean, to miss at 300 yards with if he did have an AR, and at 300 yards you did not hit your target. I mean, with an AR, you should be pretty much dead to nuts at that 300 range, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not too hard. I mean, a small target you can pluck off pretty easily, especially, I mean, for sure at 200, 300, it's not even that hard. You know what I mean? If you're skilled at all, 300-yard shot's not going to be that difficult.
The guy was skilled.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So who knows? But then he shaves his ear, which is a close shot. And then what I thought was crazy is this. I mean, to me, when I seen this, I was like, man, Trump's like the real deal, man. Like he is like in the face. Like this dude is under fire. You know what I mean? Takes the shot, gets clipped, drops down. All those secret agents come in, grab him up. Or covered him, and he's like, hang on just 1 second, you know what I mean? Sticks his hand up, you know what I mean? And it's like, fight, basically. You got to fight. So
Trump's an actor, dude.
Hey, man, I was like, this dude is under fire, and he knows the score, man. And he's just like, I stand in the face of you people, and I'm just gonna, I'm sitting here saying, F it.
I think once he took inventory of the situation, I think he thinks quickly enough on his feet. He's like immediately using this to his advantage.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's intense, dude.
It just bolstered his ego.
Oh, dude, it's intense, man. How fast he is on his feet. Even at 70, what is he?
77 or 8, something like that.
78. Yeah.
It's all the McDonald's cheeseburgers that dude eats, man.
Dude, incredible, man. But that just shows you his mentality, how his quickness and his sharpness, man. Like, I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't.
That's unreal.
I don't like hanging out. I mean, I love watching politics because to me it's as amusing as watching Family Guy to be. I mean, Ren and Stimpy. I don't even know Beavis and Butthead. Name something that's funny to watch, but there are implications that matter.
At its fullest, though, man. Yeah. For sure. Well, I think that's why we're on a center stage too for the whole world. A lot of times is I think they just like that soap opera type mentality that comes with the politics over here. Yeah. I would think, you know what I mean?
Well, if you pay attention to world politics, I mean, it happens other places. I watch a lot of stuff from the parliament in Europe, and I love their heated debates.
Yeah.
They're highly organized and they're very proper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're still like sir and madam and all those things. They don't call each other names. You know, they don't. It's kind of weird watching it because you're like, are they really even mad at each other?
Right. And then, what I did see here too, going back to this is, then I hear people saying it, just on my feeds and stuff, that they're saying that it was a setup. You know what I mean? Like this was just
Staged.
Staged political setup. My first thought was like, well, it's definitely staged because I believe that the entire world is basically a stage anyways. But to go beyond that, they're saying like this was a total staged event, which I don't agree with that.
If no one else,
I don't agree with that, Ryan. There's no way, man.
If it would have just been Trump and his ear exploding, I would have leaned to that.
I don't know, man.
I'm just saying I would have, because he is an actor and he will use any, and I'm not, I mean, people could be angry at me for saying this, and I think that any politician does this. They use any means necessary to get a point across.
But I would say maybe in the moment, like he's just quick to be his reactions to it. But I don't see, like, it would have to be me sitting up there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust this guy to shoot and just nick my ear. There's no way,
if
man.
it was staged, there was no shot ever.
Oh,
Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, his ear.
There's not
had
even
like
there's not even an injury. He reached his hand up there and popped the blood.
Yeah, I got
ball.
you. But see, I don't see it like
Runs
that.
out.
There's no way. I don't think it was a staged event in that process.
But
man.
like I said, since other people were injured,
yeah,
and they didn't take the shooter alive,
yeah,
there was other things at play. At the end of the day, though, we still have responsibility as Christians. You know, how does this look? And I don't think politics belongs in church at all, but we should be in some very, very serious prayer for our government and for our nation and geographically where we live and for the land beneath our feet, because it's things that do affect us. You know, I think that we have a right to stand where we stand on things, you know, where we're not going to confuse what the Bible says with the laws of the land, and we're not going to confuse American freedom with freedom in Christ. Those things don't mesh together. You know, otherwise Christianity would just be for the USA. You see what I'm saying? So we do have responsibility there, but we have a responsibility also to tread lightly with how we express ourselves on these things, because it is very confrontational. I mean, you think of things that could divide a church, and politics is one of them.
Yeah, probably so. I think the politics pretty much have a way of dividing. Like I said, you got bipolar opposites, so it's constantly a collision course.
Oh, yeah.
But back to being staged, man, I just don't think it's staged, Ryan. So that's my take on it. I think it was just some dude out there. They said he was a registered Republican voter too. I heard that. I think you told me that in some conversation. But even besides the point, even that, I don't even think you could use that as much leverage, really, because I mean, you can put yourself as whatever you want.
And there again, there's
some straight weirdos out there, man, that are heated, and you could be a Republican and not like Trump.
Right.
I know probably plenty of Republicans that don't like Trump. You know what I mean? And don't want to see him in there.
Well, there's 5 of them for sure that are very outspoken.
So that's what I mean. So then you have that. So, I mean, just because the guy was a Republican doesn't necessarily mean much to me on anything on that point. You could still want to take him out.
Yeah. Yeah, it says here on The Guardian, it says the 20-year-old from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania was a registered Republican who donated to a progressive PAC.
Yeah, so see, that's what I mean. So he was a little bit on the progressive side anyways. So he was probably totally against, obviously he was totally against Trump. Heck, he tried to shoot him and tried to kill him. I wouldn't say he just tried to shoot him. He tried to take him out with a headshot,
It
man.
says public records show he shared a home with his parents who were licensed behavioral care counselors. The same records contain no mention of any criminal or traffic citations.
How's things going on? How's things going at home? Jeez, man. That's man. That sucks, man. That sucks, man. That sucks. That's all bad. I feel sorry for the parents, man. Really, the family, dude. I mean, I guess that's kind of what they're known for now.
Smart kid. Says right here he won a National Math and Science Star Award.
I'd say, I mean, yeah, he'd have to be pretty witty. I mean, he got a gun into a
This says that he
freaking huge event with Trump, which I can't be very easy to do. I wouldn't think.
Well, it was outside the deal.
Yeah, but still wouldn't be
So
that hard because
outside-
they got to have people that like watch all that, man.
Not outside that perimeter.
Huh.
not outside the perimeter. It's weird, right?
Yeah, you think that's where you would want to watch?
Well, they'll probably.
Well, you'd
up
want to
the
watch
perimeter.
everywhere. 'Cause
Well, they're thinking at most people, I'm just saying, the average guy, like, I mean, you say, well, 300-yard shot should be easy. And
well, I wouldn't say easy, but for somebody skilled, I would say fairly
this kid
easy.
wasn't skilled.
Yeah, I guess well, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, according to this, I mean, he was really good at math. It says right here, a young man whose former schoolmate at Crooks at Bethel Park High School spoke with Report Sunday, recalled how his ex-companion was bullied almost every day.
No, he was a bully too. I mean, he was bullied.
Told him that he had a penchant for wearing hunting and military clothes as well as eating alone at lunch. Drew derision from his peers who considered him a loner and outcast.
And he used military, so he might have had a little bit of training in firearms, man. You never know. If you're an attempt at 300 shot, man, I would say you would have. Well, yeah, I'd say you'd have some type of skill level there
Yeah.
to even attempt it, especially on that scale. Holy crap, man! Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're dead now. You're toast.
Lots of people have it recorded. It'll end up being like the anything else. There's so many points of view.
Oh,
Can you imagine them trying to collect all that video evidence? Because you can see in the news that, I mean, hundreds of people are there with their phones up.
yeah, just everybody recorded. Yeah.
Like, then everybody ducks, but their phones are just up, you know? So,
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
I think it's a terrible, terrible, sad event.
And
It really is. And it doesn't take away from, you know, a shooting's a shooting. I did see a post on Facebook that says, well, I wish people got this upset when a shooter walks into a school, you know, or this much news is about it.
I mean,
We're talking about two different things here.
it's totally different.
Totally different. I mean,
I see people break down in tears over, you know, over school shootings for sure, man. That gets pretty intense,
Right.
man. That's even,
it hits different.
that's a whole nother level, man. Exactly. That's not even in the same park, man. That's a totally different
Yeah.
level. I mean, you're talking, yeah, I don't even want to talk
God's
about
honest
that, really.
truth, like I said, when we got up from supper walking by and paying the bill, that we just happened to catch it.
Yeah.
And it said 4 loud bangs. And to be honest, I just kind of chuckled. I was like, some riffraff with some mortars.
Yeah.
You know, it never crossed my mind that legit it would have been an
was
assassination attempt.
Yeah, throw some M80s out there,
Yeah.
trying to make a scene. But then check this out too. I also seen this, and I don't know how true this is, but maybe check it too on here on Google real quick. But I did see where President Biden the other day had said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. He was
I have
quoted
no
saying,
idea.
have you heard that quote yet?
No,
that he
I
said?
haven't.
I don't know. I just seen it. I just seen someone was saying that Trump had just, or not Trump, but Biden had just said the other day, it's time to put Trump in the
I'm
bullseye.
not trying to be mean, but I don't think Biden's coherent enough to put a sentence together
That's
to
kind
say
of what
that.
I thought. That's why I said you should Google it and see if there's anything on that. But I heard that there was a quote someone said that he stated, and then I was like, I don't take it like that's what he would have meant. You know what I mean? Biden's not going to just go out and say that, and that's not what he meant. But some people are going to hear that and be
yeah.
like, oh. It's like they're trying to do Trump on January 6th, like he incited all these riots. You know what I mean? By some of
Dude,
his words.
Listen,
Okay,
this
yeah.
is the BBC.
Yeah. Can you play it and we'll put a mic up to it? I just want to hear
That's
it.
just a picture.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
Associated Press.
Yeah.
BBC News Washington. It says a group of Republican lawmakers are blaming U.S. President Joe Biden, claiming his campaign rhetoric led to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. As of Sunday, nearly a dozen lawmakers have pointed fingers at Mr. Biden and Democrats at large for the shooting Saturday evening at his former president's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Many are pointing to a comment from Mr. Biden on a private phone call with donors last week. According to Politico, Biden said on the call, I have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. I'm absolutely certain I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in the bullseye or in a bullseye. And
Poor
that's
choice of words.
it's in quotations. I have one job ends with bullseye. So yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I hadn't heard that.
But that's what I mean. But
You'll just know.
like if you're getting into that political world, or especially over the January 6th movement, some time ago, well, Trump had said some stuff that they were saying was inciting riots. But I'm like, well, that's not what he meant.
Right.
So then I guess this would be the counter to that. Well, if you're going to say this is how it goes. back and
Potato,
forth.
potato.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, now we got you. You just try to kill our president. You know what I mean?
Well,
and
all this stuff happens while we're moving to the bunker.
yeah, and that's
just
another,
in case.
yeah, that was true. And we are, I thought this would be the last show in the back shack, and
We
you
might
never
roll
know.
one more.
You never know between you and I, so it could be the very last one, or it could get one more in. Ryan,
Yeah.
we will
think-
see.
We still have a few days left to
Yeah.
get our ducks in a row. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, a lot of interesting things will happen over the next few weeks, and on top of our ordinary lives that are somewhat interesting at times from our perceptions, and how do we get to this where we? I mean, how do you even pick through this? You look even right here. My Google bar says Biden said Trump needs to be put in the bullseye.
Yeah. So see,
And so just scrolling through, oh gosh darn it. This is why I'm not good on computers, fat fingers. You just go through Defiant Biden, Republicans fault Biden, and depending on what side of the news program, right?
yeah,
It depends on whose fault it is.
Yeah.
You know whose fault it is, right? The shooters.
the shooters. Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. How he was indoctrinated, any of those things doesn't really matter. At the same time of the day, it's anything else.
Yeah, I mean, he made
Apply
a
it to
conscious
any
decision, a choice
principle.
to grab or whatever gun it was. I guess if it's an AR, it's an AR. Whatever he did, he opted to grab it,
Well,
climb up onto a rooftop or sit however he got up there, and then
he
pulled the trigger, man.
Yeah.
She pulled the trigger, man, going for a
very
headshot,
strange.
and got his ear. And you know what I mean? That's what's wild to me, man. And and if you look through history, man, like I was thinking about this too, as you look through history, and you can base a lot of stuff, what happened through history. That's why history is so important to me as well. Also,
It's the greatest predictor of future events.
but you look at anybody that is kind of standing up against the machine, whether you want to, back that or, take that as far as how you want to move or however.
That's on either side.
Yeah, but it's just like anyone that's making grounds, standing against the machines, almost standing against just whatever just some type of cause. Like you look at like Martin Luther King, JFK, Abraham Lincoln. Even they tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan back in the day. I think Bush had an assassination attempt against him at one point. You'd have to fact check me on that one.
I think so. I know
But-
one of the Bushes had a shoe thrown at him.
Yeah, shoe throw. But that was over in third world country there. But no, I thought someone tried to pull a gun. I could be wrong there.
Yeah.
The Bush one might be wrong, but not even a good example. Never really was fond of that guy anyways. But, but like, I mean, you just look at all these great leaders that we've had, through previous history that have came up and trying to make some big, great changes and trying to hold ground on principles, on truth, on what's right. You know what I mean? As far as those things are considered. And I mean, those guys get shot, man. Those guys get killed. Guys like that die, Ryan, for sure, man.
Yeah.
And they die, up there trying to make big movements. If you can get a big movement behind you with a lot of people, stir some things up, get some attention.
1835 was the first assassination attempt on Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson. Yep.
After Jackson left a funeral held in the House of Representatives, a guy tried to shoot him in the portico of the Capitol. 4 sitting presidents have been killed: Abraham Lincoln, James Garfield,
Oh, yeah, I forgot
William
about
McKinley,
Garfield.
and John F. Kennedy. Additionally, 3 have been injured in an attempt. This is how fast Wikipedia updates. Listen,
Yeah.
they have Ronald Reagan, Theodore Roosevelt, and they already got Donald Trump on here.
Donald Trump
Yeah.
made the cut.
I
man.
can't believe they didn't use his. That's a good picture of him. They didn't use his mugshot.
His mugshot. Yeah. Yeah. See? I don't know, man. Yeah, history was made yesterday, man. That'll go in the history books, man. It's wrote down. There it is.
Yeah, very crazy.
Yep. Crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah, wild times, man.
Yeah, better
And you
here
know-
than there.
And I think back then, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that thought.
Well, lots of places.
Yeah, for real though. It's getting crazy.
I'm not gonna let it control me for the next
Well,
month.
for sure. And I'm definitely not going to get in like huge heated debates back and forth over things and like totally just, I mean, basically like, I'd say ruin friendships over things like that, man. And it's just like, it's just not that big a deal to me, I suppose.
Well, and this is me being
I mean, it's not going to affect my
the way
everyday.
I am.
Yeah.
But if I'm around some really hardcore Republicans, my favorite thing to do is tell them I'm a socialist. Oh, dude, they get so mad.
I do the same thing. I was around. Who was I? I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, I was at work, and I told somebody there that I was a huge Biden supporter. I was like, he's so great. The next greatest thing is right there, Biden. But anyways, I thought
That's
that was
what it
funny.
is.
Yeah. I just like clouding though. Yeah. See, I like to find humor in a lot of things, man. So
I too.
kind of what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, out with the old, in with the new. Church was good today.
No, I bet it was, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So the episode that we haven't posted yet, where we talked about all these things, that does make it weird for me. I don't know if I like holding one back.
Yeah. I don't know.
I like it a lot better when it's already out there.
Yeah, start throwing them out there.
Yeah. So we did talk about covenant again today, and you know, we talked about the question that was posed from last week, and we hit on it probably a couple times, and it's always interesting. I don't think there's a wrong answer. What are the terms of the new covenant when you say you accept Christ? I don't necessarily think there's a wrong answer because there's so many things involved. You know, obviously, well, what are you accepting the terms of? And a lot of people would say, oh, you have to have faith. Well, that's how you get there. Now, you have to maintain faith, right, afterwards. But to get there, there's some conditions to get there, and there's some conditions afterwards. And I always love when there's an open dialogue for people to just really be comfortable enough to say what's on their mind. And like I said, I don't think there's necessarily like a wrong answer. I think they're all right. But then when you get down to it at the end, like, what's that really even mean? What's the terms that you accept? You know, down the rabbit hole you go. And it depends on where you come from. So for me, you know, I think a lot about it. But if you would ask Trisha what the terms are, since she was Orthodox, they look different. And then how do you bring all that together and call that a unified church? To me, this is like, oh man,
I don't know. There's only technically one church, anyways. So that's my belief, anyways. There's only one church.
True that.
And you guys are all under one church, anyways. Whether you want to believe that or not yourself. In my eyes, the way I believe things, it's a matter of just that one love, and you're all under the church. You're all under one God, one Christ, and you know, and you're all in that priesthood, man. One church. And then you guys all like to get together, then you battle each other.
Well, there's that.
That's what I always think. That's what trips me out, man. It's like everybody wants to say they're right and you're wrong, when it's possible that y'all are wrong. Or you're all just a little right and you're all just a little wrong, just the same. But I think if you have that just one belief and you're knowing of Christ, Christ knows you, I'd say you're peanut butter jelly in a baseball bat, man.
I think it's more important how you get there.
Yeah.
And not
it's a matter of getting there too.
It's not, and I shouldn't say how you get there. It's more important that you get there.
That's right. Yeah, that you get there.
And
yeah, because then we can go, because you're kind of wanting to touch base on Luke. That kind of leads us right into that. You know what I mean? Is that division? You know, Christ himself, he says, you know, I came to divide, and you know, you speak of that unity.
Oh yeah, Luke too.
Yeah, and then we can speak into that same type of division. Is because I would say if you're out there, you know, just do you, man. Do you. You know what I mean? I'll do me. You do you. Well, I would say, and then if that's the unity you're looking for, as far as, and then you get into that judgment type. And with that sentence right there, you get in that judgment because everyone's like, oh, you're judging me. But technically, no, I'm just saying, I was not born holy, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like, it's not me to be me. I need to die to myself. I need to die in order to live. You know what I mean? I need to die. And I think Paul said that, right? Apostle Paul would have said, I die to myself so that all that lives in me is Christ, or something along those lines. I can't really think of it off the top of my head, but yeah. So you die to you, man. I die to me, die to you. And so that way Christ is all that is alive in me. And then I live in Christ. And then that is that unity. And then at the same time, that same unity, that you die to yourself and you live in Christ and Christ lives in you, and that is it. That's what lives in you is Christ and not you. Then that creates that division. because then those who want to live that selfish way and live for themselves, well, then they will die for them. They will die with themselves as well.
Right.
Because we choose to live as Christ, and as Christ lives in us, so then we live forever. We do not die. So.
Only to yourself.
Yeah. To die to yourself, to live in Christ is gain, or something like that. I wish I got better at my scriptures there, but yeah.
I have the hardest time. Well, I have a hard time with recall, period, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking with Trish about it, and she's like, oh, you know Bible verses. And I was like, I could not recite one right now if you had a gun to my head.
I could for sure, man. Jesus wept.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that one there in case a gun gets pointed to your head, Ryan.
Well, chapter and verse with that.
Yeah. John, something. John 14:3. I don't know, man.
I'm not sure that's it. But
I don't think so.
It's in the story of Lazarus, obviously. Yeah, has to be. That's the only time he cried. Wept on the cross. He wept lots of times, but I mean, still though, it's like my recall for that. I have written out Romans 8:38 and 39 dozens of times because I think it's an important piece of scripture to have memorized.
Yeah.
To use when you're witnessing to other people, because a lot of people that I've talked with in the last year or so, their first pushback is that God doesn't love them. If God loved me, why would he allow this? If God loved me, why, you know what I mean? and it happens. I mean, you can, why would God allow death? You know, why would he allow, I mean, pick something, anything, you know, Trish's friend that died in the car wreck in Puerto Rico. Why, you know, who's sometimes you get to that point.
Yeah, well, I would just say God allows freedom of choice. You know what I mean? And we
well, and then too, there's
path,
people
man.
that think that because of where they're at in life and all that they've been through and they're unable to overcome certain things, and we'll use addiction as an example. That's like they still have this idea that you have to be good to get in. No, you. That's really
ain't nobody good if you want to get down to brass tacks.
Well, it does say that, but it's, you know, it talks about the righteous don't need a savior; it's the lost that need it.
Yeah,
and some of the people that think they're righteous are just self-righteous and they're actually lost. But there again, that's besides the point. It's that whole idea of like, how can we be better about getting people to, one, even entertain the idea of accepting the terms of the covenant, new covenant, to accept Christ, to get to a point where, like we say, faith leads to obedience, you know? And it's not this thing of everybody sins. Everybody does. Because if people didn't sin, then we wouldn't need one perfecter, one mediator. But it does make it difficult where it says in scripture numerous times after Jesus healed someone, he would say, go and sin no more.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say go sin very little.
Hey, try not to sin no more, man.
Yeah. Do your best, buddy. You know? But if you read the rest of the book, especially in Paul's letters and you know, even his letters to the churches to Timothy, you know, he's saying, you're not going to be perfect. Yeah. And there again, there's your testimony. This is why you need Christ.
Yeah.
This is why you need the Holy Spirit.
And I always like to say, like, you may not be perfect, but just keep practicing, man.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what it's about, is out there just practicing, getting better and better. I've said that on several occasions, man. If you're always practicing, are you perfect? You know what I mean? Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
So if you're always practicing, are you perfect? I don't know. But I think it has a lot to do with it, man. Just staying in action, you know, keep on moving and working and continue to better yourself. Continue to, you know, notice those flaws within yourself and work in such a way that betters it.
Trying to find a piece of scripture.
Yeah, I mean, there is some scary scripture along those lines. I got one on top of my head. I can't really think of it, but I mean, it speaks of, like, you know, once you know what is true and what's not, and you know what sin is, and then you continue to sin, I think it's like you're pretty much doomed. Can't remember the verse on that one. I had to look that one up. Should have brought my little tablet.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Are those lights making it kind of hot in here?
Making it hot?
Yeah.
No. It's just hot, buddy. He said, those lights make it hot. So those lights generate very, very little heat. The computer, I can feel the heat coming off my laptop.
Dude, it is smoking in
I
here.
guess I could turn the fan on the laptop. Can you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
I can feel it.
Maybe that's what I feel because I just got rushed with some coolness right there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your laptop burning us up here, man. But yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what we were talking about now.
Well, we're talking about terms of the covenant. So I found that verse. This is what is good and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God.
Yeah.
And it has a question mark at the end. That's Micah 6:8. That's what I've been looking for. I got track of these. We have to be better. I mean, we say it. You tell me all the time, better every day in every way, or better in every way.
I'm getting better every day and in every way. Yeah. I'm getting better every day and in every way.
I think there's so much importance to that cliche little saying, you know.
For sure there is.
And
A lot of greatness comes through that saying right there, man. You say that to yourself daily, steadily, you'll begin to get better. No doubt about it, man. There's no way not to get better. If you start telling yourself that, believing that, yeah, you'll get better.
Why is this not coming up the way I want it to?
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. I feel like I got daggers going into my side right here.
Still?
Oh, yeah, dude.
It's the moonshine.
I doubt it. It's terrible,
gets
though.
You every time.
Stupid. Like, oh, my gosh. I don't know.
Yeah, so this whole little piece is...
Feels like I got a broken rib, man.
You might.
Yeah. Well, that's what I felt because when I breathe, man, it's just so sharp. So then I got the tore out quad. I got the broken rib.
Could have a separated rib, too.
Or separated rib.
Very painful.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I went out and run Friday, and, boy, that one smoked me, too. But anyways, go ahead.
I don't think we spent enough time in the Old Testament.
No.
This is Micah 5 or 6. Let's see. Micah 6. It says, what does the Lord require? With what shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before God on high? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. I find it interesting that there is a question mark at the end of that.
Yeah, I do like the fact that there is a question mark. I think it's maybe, are you doing that? You know, maybe. Like, where are you at in that walk, maybe? I don't know.
Well, where are you?
Getting better, man.
That's it.
Getting better, Ryan. Getting better. Yeah. And, you know, and I think that's what I've said, too, man. I think it's a matter of getting better, but I think at the same time, it's a matter of just doing your best. Just doing your best. Because if you're not doing that, you're doing your best. I think you're.
Coming soon.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. The hard ones, I'm telling on that Bible ref, like any of those real challenging verses that you're really wanting to know, and you can't really, you know, and you kind of want that from them. It's always coming soon. I'm telling you, they skip over those real tough ones. They're like, I ain't ready for that one yet.
They started in the New Testament, and then they do like Psalms and Proverbs, and then they expand from there.
Oh yeah, but those are tougher ones. So they're like hard pass.
Yeah,
we're coming back to it. We're circling back to that one. Yeah. I've noticed that on a lot of verses. I'm like, dang, that one's hitting hard. I wonder what their take is on it, because they do have some awesome takes. And I agree with. I don't know that I've seen one that I haven't necessarily agreed with. And so I like going to the Bible ref for my commentary.
Oh yeah, I do too. Yeah. So it's this way. Mike is asking God the question. That's why it's question mark. It says this was a question asked out of bitterness and resentment. In Micah's imagined courtroom, Israel called out to God from the witness stand and said, "Just what do you want from me?" I mean, I feel like I was doing that a few weeks ago. Like, God, what more do you want from me?
What do you want?
I want all of you.
Yeah.
Such a simple answer.
I want all of you. Yeah.
All of you.
Yeah. Well, he wants Christ in you, man.
Full surrender.
He wants, you want, this is what I want. I want that all that he sees when he looks at me is Christ.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he has shown you, oh man, what is good and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justly.
Yeah.
That's so hard because I like the way I think.
Oh man. But that's what I mean. But our man,
Act in a just fair
probably
way.
what's wrong with us, man, too. At the same time.
Golden rule: treat them as you'd want to be treated.
Yeah. Do unto others.
Yeah, love mercy. Don't just show mercy, but love to show it.
Ooh, I like that one. Love to show mercy.
Give others the same measure of mercy you want to receive from me.
That's
walk
right.
humbly. Remember who I am. I'm your God.
Yeah.
If you keep that in mind, you will walk humbly before me.
And that's why I always watch out with that judgment. You know what I mean? Because if I'm casting stones and whatnot, I mean, you might as well, throw me down the mountain and let boulders just land on top of me.
Walk humbly when dealing with sinners.
But then there is that fine line of correction because you need that correction, man. And I don't know if I'd consider that judging or not, but definitely need the correction.
Ooh, that's pretty good, Spurgeon. True humility is thinking rightly of thyself, not meanly. When you have found out what you really are, you will be humble, for you are nothing to boast of. To be humble will make you safe. To be humble will make you happy. To be humble will make music in your heart when you go to bed. To be humble here will make you wake up in the likeness of your master by and by.
Dude, that is awesome. And I do hear music at night when I'm laying there sleeping at night. Dude, I hear music all the time. It is a trip, man. I remember at first when I first started hearing it, this was some years back. Dude, I'd just be laying there. And I could have swore like my wife's sitting there listening to music next to me or playing, or there's music playing somewhere. And I'd be like, are you listening to music? And she'd be like, no. And that went on for a while. But now I've gotten so used to it now where it just kind of, like right there, it just kind of puts me to sleep.
Yeah.
So I just kind of go with it now.
Oh, man. I'm about to dig into this later.
Oh, yeah. Those are some good ones you were throwing down. I was liking those, Ryan. Those were hitting home right there.
It's funny because like I feel like I did a pretty adequate study on covenant, and then we get there and our good friend that used to come to Bible study with us. So you already, I don't want to name drop. But
yeah, no, I get it.
He bust out with that passage from Micah.
Yeah,
and it was a little chaotic. About 85 people there this morning, probably about 20. Or so, just popping off, saying stuff, and all of a sudden he reads that, and it just,
quiet.
Even the pastor's demeanor changed.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, and I'm sure that he considered that, going in, because like all I did is like, what's the Bible say about this? And it was like number 8 on the list was Micah, but I find it hard to live up to at different times. I had an incident happen at work on Friday where
but that's why it goes back.
Someone came in and it was very hard, and it rattled me, dude. Like I was upset, but very unprofessional way to come in and do something. And I sat there for quite a while in my chair, and when I'd finally had enough, I got up and barked.
Yeah,
And I do like being a big guy because when I get up and raise my voice, usually people get real quiet.
I lost that.
So there's like five ladies having a conversation, and it's getting pretty heated. And I'd heard enough, and I just.
Then if it's getting heated, then I would say you're lacking humility there too and humbleness.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's a place for righteous anger. The Bible doesn't say don't be angry.
No, it says slow to anger.
Well, I sat there for probably three minutes, and it was a legit 3 minutes. Like it wasn't 30 seconds. Trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that there's a cause for things, and there's a way to be professional about stuff. And if you're representing a different business, to come into another business and act that way, uncalled for, totally unprofessional. And then to poke on people that work with me that are my friends, that's when I got mad.
Oh yeah.
And the lady that came in had no basis for what she did, and she had no factual anything.
Oh yeah, Ryan's coming with it.
She was just offering her opinion.
Get him, boy,
Yeah.
get him.
And the bad thing is, the guy that she was trying to advocate for, instead of advocating for him, she did more damage.
Yeah, that's typically what happens in those scenarios.
So now, I said at the end, I said, well, he's going on the naughty list now, so now he can't even come to this facility ever.
Dang,
Ever.
just made an ass out of yourself and them, huh?
Yep.
She did basically.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, I mean, I didn't know if there was any truth to what I said, but about 15 minutes later, there was a new naughty list and that guy's name was on it. You know, and I hate to be that way, but it's the same as anything.
You got to draw a line, you know what I mean?
Take the principle of that. You know what I mean? There's no reason for that in any, you know, that type of back and forth. And it was, I wish I had it all recorded, you know, because if you watched it like play out, you would just, it would be like something that you'd kick your feet up and have a beer with to watch and laugh about, right? In hindsight. And you get to this point where it's like, what's wrong with people?
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you what's wrong with the people that were on this side of the counter and the people who were on this side of the counter. And at the end of the day, they don't have they don't have true humility. They don't have true joy. They don't have true peace. They don't have true self-control. They don't have true any of those things because they don't even remotely believe in God. Yeah. Well, they believe in a God that they make up. They believe there's a creator, but not the God of the Bible.
Yeah, they're higher power. They would consider it a higher power, right?
So, but the other thing we talked about today too was like, you know, we talked about Abraham and sacrificing Isaac and the symbology from it all, and how that's, you know, precursor to a type of Christ and all these things, and then you get to the New Testament and these terms of this covenant, and it's like, well, what are you sacrificing? Well, you're sacrificing yourself now. But before you can do that, before you can sacrifice yourself to surrender all, you have to start thinking about the things that you idolize in your life. So at one point in time, I had to sacrifice drugs and alcohol. That was my idol. I had turned it into a god. It controlled my life, and everything I did went to that. And so at the point in time where I was like, all right, I'm ready to lay it down at the foot of the cross, you know, it was hard.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to say it would be as hard as strapping your son down to a pile of wood and getting ready to slice him open and strike a match, or, you know, allow your son to be nailed to a cross. That's not even remotely comparable. But in the scheme of things at that time in my life, it was like,
this is what you were holding most dear.
It was, absolutely.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my goodness.
And so now the things I hold most dear that step in the way of that maybe aren't as extreme, but they still cause division. Right? They still
cause a stumble for sure.
Stumble, yeah. They still cause a cloud.
You're tripping over them for sure. Bam.
Oh yeah, mostly buffets.
You're trying to get to that connection, and bam, getting knocked over, man. Tripping over. It's hard to make that connection and keep it constant.
Absolutely, it is.
Because then all of a sudden you got this, like, ooh, get drawn away, so then that connection gets farther and farther out.
Oh yeah, and it's little
You're
things.
trying to draw near, right? And there's so many things trying to push you back. Yeah.
Oh, it's constant.
Constant battle, man.
Be vigilant.
Yeah,
I need some Secret Service members around me.
Stupid. They probably just feed it, man. Maybe you never know.
I have my own Secret Service.
I do what I want. My ego got real big, real quick. I got my own fleet of dudes here.
Yeah. Well,
take me to the buffet.
I'm hoping. I know it. Take me to ice cream. I'm hoping that I have a fleet of angels looking out for me sometimes.
Yeah.
But then I think about Daniel, where it said, you know, where he was waiting on God for a number of days. I think it was 21 days, and finally, the angel of the Lord, or the specific angel, appears and says, "Oh, I would have been here sooner, but I was fighting with the Prince of Persia to get here.
Yeah.
And thank you for waiting patiently." What if Daniel would have quit praying?
Yeah.
You think the guy would have said, "Nah, all right, fight's over, going home. Daniel's done." He didn't endure.
Yeah.
You know,
get me out of there. You know what I mean? Our prayers are
so
crucial, man.
That.
Important.
Oh, they are. Well, Amos 7, where Amos is, you know, kind of whiny because he's just a sycamore farmer and a herdsman, and here he's called to be a prophet. And he says, God tells him, "I'm going to bring fire down on the nation of Israel, the house of Jacob." And Amos prays, and God relents.
Yeah.
So he says, "All right, well, I'm going to send locusts or whatever to kill all their crops." And Amos prays, and God relents. What if Amos wouldn't have prayed?
Yeah.
God would have done what he said he was going to do. But at the end of the day, he says, "All right, I'm going to create a plumb line. And by that plumb line, I'm going to measure everything you do, right or wrong." Being plumb.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot going on, man.
Yeah. And then, you know, you get to thinking about, too, because you said, you know, people are being real weird. I've said that, too, man. It's kind of hard. It seems like, I don't know, like I think it's getting, at times it gets tough to, like, it gets tough to love people.
Yeah.
It gets really tough to like people. But then I always go to like towards the end of times when it says, like if the restrainer, the one who restrains,
Right.
will be lifted and won't be here. You know what I mean? So imagine when that happens,
Right.
how bad and evil it'll get.
So I think it's strange that
I think it'll get to a whole nother level, man. Or maybe we're there. We just slowly boiled up to it, and we're not really noticing how really evil and bad it is. And we are already there.
Well,
And that's why it's getting so tough to love and like people.
we spend a lot of time unaware because of influence.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's tiny. I mean, I could watch something that I don't agree with, and if I watch it a number of times, then I find myself questioning it.
Yeah.
Like, what if they are right? Even though I know it's blatantly wrong, and I'm talking, let's say, apply theology to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the oneness Pentecostalism, I don't agree with it. I think it's not right. But then I find myself kind of almost swayed, and I'm like, but really what's happening is like I can understand their position,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see how the
see their
plus
take
and
on
all
it.
that
Yeah.
equals to this, but their discernment's off.
Yeah.
Their influence is wrong, and it goes beyond that. But at the same time, it's like the whole purpose of how do we know? How do we get from objective truth to absolute truth? And absolute truth isn't just because 20 million people agree.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's just
If 20 million people are agreeing, I'd kind of like,
well, out of 8 billion,
yeah, true.
So I don't know. It gets to be. It's just a lot. It really is, and I like that. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, keep it simple. I think that's what more people need to do is just keep it simple too. Even on the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, I think if we just kept that simple, it would just not create so much division, so much craziness.
Yeah.
I mean, what's crazy is like people are trying to like the left's crazy. No, that was one dude, man. That was one dude who made a conscious decision.
Right.
I think it's just as simple as that, man. This guy's having tough problems. He's like, screw it one day or whatever, however that works. And just keep it simple, man. The dude made a bad decision that day, chose violence and
Well, and it sucks too, 'cause
assassinated. It ain't no more than that. You can't lump
exactly right.
the 50% of the nation into this one guy, man. That would be like some guy on the Republican side, conservative side, doing something stupid, and then you're wrapped up into that. No, you'd be probably
happen.
sitting there, and be like, well, yeah, but me as a person, I'd be sitting there, and be like, no, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that, man? Why would you try to shoot somebody? Why would you try to
Like
do?
you just said, you can't lump
Yeah.
everybody on the left into this guy's ideology because first off, it's unfair.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
that's
it's not
not how
fair.
everybody think. If everybody was like that, then we'd already be at war with ourselves to a point
Well,
of
it's just
violence
like I
like that,
can't
man.
lump-
And we're not. So it's
Yeah.
like, dang.
I try. I have friends that are Christian nationalists, and I love them dearly. I don't agree with where they come from on their thoughts on theology and how it's tied to America and all this, but at the same time, I don't agree with a lot of other people also, and I can't just lump them into this thing. I can't just start lumping other people into that ideology. Same as this, I can't lump middle. It's crazy. I can't understand the polarities.
Yeah, then it matters keeping it simple too. It would be going into now, people are, now the conspiracies come about. Like this was a total setup. This
Right.
was a conspiracy, it was on a stage, it was acting. And
Right.
then I would say it's probably not. It's probably just as simple as the dude made a bad decision, man.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And I don't think there was no conspiracy about it. And I mean, that's just the way it went down. I think things are typically a lot simpler than we like to look at it. Once you begin to put everybody's perspectives and everybody's thought processes into things, what everybody's seeing, that's, I think, when it gets difficult, man.
Well, you start
That's when you
crossing
begin
so
to
many
see
things off. You know what I mean?
And you can look at something and make something that didn't happen you can make it look different. I mean, people are good at manipulating. There's a lot of ways to manipulate
Well, I was watching.
and to make things look a certain way.
I think it was on Tim Pool, and Tim Pool's take on things. I'm always amused by him. But at the end of the day, a lot of times I agree with him. But he said, he goes, the funny thing is, he goes, the left and right want the same things in the end of the day.
Yeah.
The way they get there is so different. You can't tell me that the people on the left don't have in their head to end the wars that are going on. but the way they get there is different than the right. You know, I mean, but so these steps in between is where we get mad. And now we're going to shoot people, you know, or whatever, or we're going to stand on the street with our signs and, you know, say this and. It just gets crazier and crazier. Probably,
and if you're looking at certain things, just hit me like the best. I bet some of the best paths to get there, or the best ways to get there, is probably in the middle ground of what you want and what they want. You know what I mean?
Well, or they all go.
You know what I mean? And once you get to that common ground, boom, then that's usually probably the way to go, man.
When you look at the bipartisan
you guys are so
bills
bipolar, you can't get to the middle no more. So we ain't making no progress.
That's how they do end up passing the bipartisan bills.
Yeah,
is you know, they have these extremes, and then all of a sudden they start cherry picking from each side, and they say, all right, here's this. Really what comes down to, if you pay attention to politics and the votes, is people aren't upset about the main parts of these bills. What they're upset is all the things that they try to sneak in that added to these bills, especially the financial ones. So it's like, all right, we're going to give $120 billion to this. Well, 20 million of it's going to go to like some weird, obscure thing that this senator likes.
Yeah, they're like, if you want the whole thing, you got to take a little of these.
Yeah. and so that's where I do agree with some of the neocons, where they need to itemize more. You know, but who has time for that?
Yeah,
they're just. I mean, there's bigger fish to fry, but at the same time, it's your dollars.
Yeah,
you know,
why do they package it all in like that?
Well, because if they didn't, they would never come to an agreement on anything.
I'd just vote one thing at a time.
Yeah.
They would probably get farther than they are now if they would just go one item at a time.
So you would think that, but the unfortunate truth, the way it's set up, is, I mean, you have to have a number of votes. So the margins are so thin. I mean, there's not enough seats one way or the other. So for a Democratic bill to pass in either I think the Senate, they got to have 4 or 5 Republicans vote with them.
So what you're telling
to pass in the House, they got to have 4 or 5 Democrats vote with them, or vice versa.
So then So then what I'm hearing is, what's the point of them, man? Why are they even in office? Why do we even have a federal government? I mean, go ahead and sit down then. I mean, you ain't getting nothing done anyways.
There will always be oversight.
Nah, there doesn't have to be.
Listen,
they choose for that to be.
In all these communities that they say that they're anti-government, and they go out in the woods. Granted, there's not government oversight, but eventually there's someone that's in charge of that. And then people get mad because they don't agree with the guy in charge. So they go start their own group. And then those people get mad because they're not happy with the guy in charge, and they go start another.
Well, then there can be oversight, but it needs to be minimalized like no other, because it is way too.
I agree with some of it where they say quit the federal oversight and allow the states to do some of it.
Yeah, because they're way too big. Like, you're sitting there, like, they're just way too big, if you ask me, man. They don't need to be that much oversight over everything. Exactly. The states could be able to contain most, and he goes down to your communities, your neighborhoods. Yeah. Like, if they would just allow things to work and happen, I think ultimately as I would think ultimately as humans, we would progress in the right direction without oversight from the federal government.
What do you think? I mean, church governance very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, on certain things.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, look at the church. I mean, that's huge right there. I mean, I would almost go ahead and say then, because the church is probably actually bigger than the government, really, if you want to look at it.
You look across the world.
Yeah, like look at Catholic Church and all what they got going on there and all the money. I mean, they're about that money, and been for years and years, centuries. And then, so I would say, what is problems with the world? I would say, look at your church. And I would say the problem with the world is because we have problems within the church, man.
Well, there is that.
I don't know. You just brought that into mind.
I mean, it does overflow into that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's kind of going down a different trail.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean us to go there, but you had said something about the church. I was like, well, wait a minute. Yeah.
Governance was modeled after certain things. So, I mean, if you look at the Catholic Church, they have a head person, and then they have levels of, can't even think what the word would be. It's too hot in here. My brain's getting fried.
It's getting
warming
hot in here.
I'm hoping my little AC didn't just poop out on us.
I was wondering if we're still recording too. Kind of wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. The battery might be dead.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I didn't mean to take us on a different topic there, where we don't want to go today, probably. Anyways,
I know. Well, I'm just saying, but you see disagreements, right? And so then these people, because they didn't get their way, then they leave, go to a different church.
They
didn't like what happened there, so and all the while,
just like you,
the one they left, they talk crap on that church.
Yeah.
And so they go, I seen a post on Facebook like, well, I don't want to go to this church. It's too big. It doesn't feel intimate, blah, 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 blah. And the people from that church are advocating and be like, well, first off, like you haven't been coming that long and like you're not a part of any small group. And we understand that there's 2,000 people here on Sunday, but there's ways to fill these things. And probably, and I can't speak for them, this is conjecture and I'm assuming a lot here. They probably came from a small town, a small church where they had Sunday dinner all those things. So they come and you come to Hutch and it's like the first thing you ask, well, what church should I go to? Oh, try Cross Point.
Yeah.
Try the Nazarene church, and they're bigger churches, anywhere from 700 to 2,000 people. That's the natural thing because those are popular churches. But if you're looking for the intimate, why would the first place you go be the church that has 2,000 seats?
For real, you go in there.
What was your expectation?
Yeah, I'd probably step
and the
out of that
message
one.
is good.
Yeah.
I watch it.
Oh, it's good.
I don't feel uncomfortable there. It's just I like where I'm at.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I wasn't going there, I highly likely probably would be at the big church. I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, so you have your idea of what church is and what you want to attain from it, but you go to a church that's totally not that.
Well, that's probably why he was asking the question then. He was like, where do I go? I'm looking just for recommendations for that.
I understand that.
So then I think what you have is then people start reading into it and then they start putting their own selfish or whatever their thought process, and they're not really looking at his thought process. They're looking at their own. And they're like, well, what are you trying to say? We're not intimate? I'm like, no, that's not what he's saying. The post would have been like, I'm looking for something that fits more of my intimate needs, more of my wants.
Right.
And then they're like, you know what I mean? So I think if people just, again, stand back and
if
be
you're
like,
new to town, you're probably not going to land at the first church you go to.
yeah, or just be like, hey, man, try this one. And then, try this one. And
Well, I thought
see
too,
what happens, man. But yeah, I'm with you, though. If I'm looking for more close to home, like small town feel, if that's what he was looking for, and you walk into
a smaller church,
a huge church with like thousands of seats, I'm going to be like, I don't know that I'm going to get this feel, but I might try it just to see what it's like. And if I don't like it, what else is there to offer?
No, that's it. The comments were great.
I'll have
The
to look
comments
at
were
it.
great.
Well,
It was on gossip. It was on gossip.
I'll look it up later, man, for sure.
I'll find
People
it.
crack me up, dude.
Send you the link.
Especially Hutch Gossip, dude. Hutch Gossip, dude. I set up some nights just reading some of those comments, dude. I'd be rolling.
Oh, yeah.
They're so funny. What I think's funny is someone will say something and it's just serious, and people are always clowns and joking, and then people get so in their box about that. I'm like, dude, you're on Hutch Gossip, dropping something.
Let's keep the gossip train going. Have you been here since the snake incident?
The snake incident.
Okay, you haven't been. So we're moving.
Here, what do you mean?
My house.
Oh.
Have you been around Trisha since the snake incident?
Here at this house?
Yes.
I mean, I've been around.
So we're moving, and
just here recently.
yes,
yeah.
there was
I've not heard this one.
We had a comforter folded on the floor for Max. Max is our dog. For people who don't know,
he's a beast too.
And that was the only thing left in the room. So Trisha was vacuuming, and she went to move that comforter, and there was a snake under it. Okay, so I was laying down with my headphones in, watching some news on YouTube, and I could hear her, but for me and Keeler, we understand. My wife's pretty loud. She could get a little crazy. I didn't know what was going on. So I throw my headphones off and I get up out of bed, and it's clear on the other side of the house. Not that the house is huge or anything, but I meet Trisha in the middle, and she is freaking out. And I said, well, why didn't you just suck it up in the vacuum? She's like, it was too big. The vacuum hose was like this big. You know what I'm saying?
Like, how big a snake?
How big was the snake?
A python in here?
Yeah, it was huge in her eyes. Huge. And I said,
30-foot anaconda.
Yeah, well, it was probably about a 8 to 12-inch garden snake. And so the dog kind of went after it, and so that freaked her out. Now, Max legit has been bit in Arkansas by a poisonous snake. We don't know if it was a copperhead or what. Got him on the face.
Dang.
And swelled up real bad, like his eye and stuff. Called the vet, and the lady was like, well, we're actually closed today, so you'd have to pay an emergency vet fee. She goes, but let me tell you about my cow dogs. The one's been bit twice, survived both times. He said he'd probably be a little loopy and a lot of pain. Give him some, I can't remember what she told me. It was like over-the-counter Benadryl and something else for pain that I already had. And it might have been gabapentin or something. I don't know. But she said, if he's not feeling good in about 4 hours, by all means, bring him in. It'll be $300 plus whatever we do. 2.5 hours later, this dog was fine.
Jeez.
Face all swollen up, but we knew it was a snake because there was 2 holes
Yeah.
that were oozing yellow liquid that had to be venom.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was good that it wasn't in muscle tissue, that it was on his face where there's not a lot of muscular things happening.
So you didn't try to suck the poison out and spit it?
I was going to go get the pistol and just shoot him.
Dang.
Yeah, Trisha was way upset.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't want him to suffer. Just end it now.
Yeah.
And I would have saved 4 years of misery. Trust me. I love the dog. I love the dog. So anyways, so that snake incident happens. Last night I'm strolling through Facebook and I see this guy post up, maybe it was this morning, a rattlesnake at the dead end in Caryville where I live. So over here on Cary Boulevard, the dead end, he's got, and he finally posted the video of it because they're like pictures or it didn't happen. So here's this guy convinced it's a rattlesnake eating something, and he's got his dog, beautiful husky, videotaping it. So he posts, he's like, just so people are aware, I was walking down at the dead end in Caryville, and there was a rattlesnake eating an animal. Okay, well, rattlesnakes are around. He said specifically a prairie rattler. So he posts this video, and you can clearly see it's a bull snake.
I was like, it's probably, yeah.
Clearly see it's a bull snake.
Does bull snakes even rattle? They rattle their tails?
They'll beat their tail.
Yeah. Well, they beat them. Yeah, there's not a rattle, but they vibrate them.
Yeah, and so
I've picked up bull snakes before, and they feel,
Oh, they're angry guys.
Oh yeah, a little vibration on themselves, boy. They'll make you think they are.
Dude, the comments were amazing on that one.
Lighten them up.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, the guy says, well, you should still, I guess, probably just be aware there's snakes out. I'm sorry that I'm not a herpetologist, but it scared the crap out of me, and I didn't want anybody to get hurt. God help us, And I'm like, the guy had the best of intentions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People are crucial,
best
man.
Of intentions
are critical. Tough. The people are tough, man.
Well, the one guy that's not even from
Especially
Kansas.
on Hutch Gossip, dude.
Somehow.
I would not post anything like that on Hutch Gossip.
And maybe he was from Hutch at one point in time, but like he's clear out in Tennessee. I went to his Facebook page. He's like in Western Tennessee somewhere. And he's in there posting. He's like a legit herpetologist. He says a picture. He goes, well, and then he goes, I mean, his post is a mile long, or his comment about, well, snakes like that don't even live in your region.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, you know what snakes didn't live in Florida? Pythons.
Yeah.
They didn't live in that region. They do now.
They're there now.
Yeah.
For real, though. Man, I was out.
I do not like snakes, full disclosure.
We were out fishing one time just south of here, and I still don't know what it was, but it was huge. Like, I mean, I'm talking like a snake like that. Like we thought we were stepping over a log.
Yeah.
And it started moving, and it was a freaking snake.
Dude, that's why I don't go fishing.
I'm like, and what in around this area, what kind of snake would that be?
Well, I mean, you think if it had a healthy meal, it could be pretty fat.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Big old bull snake that just ate a freaking deer.
well, you think they swallow it?
Yeah.
They swallow it whole.
Yeah, I guess so. But
they're mashing them
it
down
didn't
as
look
they go.
like that. I don't know, man.
Yeah. So my
It
little
wasn't
brother,
just me. There was a few of us there.
my little brother had a ball python, and there were times. Sometimes it'd eat one mouse. Sometimes it'd eat six. Just depending on things. My bud Fred, he had a really, really big Burmese python, and it would eat anywhere. Well, first it was eating just warmed up chicken breast because it was a school pet. So it had never ate live food.
Yeah.
They would warm up a chicken breast and hold it down there on like a stick, and the snake would come up and take it. Wouldn't even like nothing. It would just come and then go back and eat it.
Yeah.
And so we started feeding it live, and any given time, anywhere from 4 to 6 rats or 4 to 6 chicks, whatever, anything about the size of a softball. But it might eat 2 or it might eat 8. And then once Molly ate, like its whole belly was just fat, and she would crawl in her little enclosure and never come out. So I hated that snake.
Dude, man, I remember when I was younger, I'd have been in high school here because I was working at Taco Bell. I remember that on 4th Street. And I can't remember who I was with, my buddy and mine. But anyways, we were looking for something. Anyway, we met up with some guy on 11th Street. He lived on 11th, right across the street from where you're going to be living now.
Yeah.
And so we get there. We go to this guy's house. We're just hanging out. He's like, hey, you guys want to see something cool? And we're like, yeah. So we go, and I've never been over there before. This guy opens up his bedroom, or something, not his bedroom, I don't know, some door in this house. Man, at that age, dude, I could have sworn it was like 20 foot, but I mean, I don't know how big that snake was, man. Huge freaking python, dude. Like 10-foot long python, at least 10 foot, man, for sure. And was just roaming around in his house,
Yeah.
just hanging out in his house.
No.
Man,
Pass.
isn't that crazy?
Hard pass.
Yeah, no way, man. That thing can come up, sleep next to you, and start sizing you up for a meal, man.
All right, I'm gonna tell you a story, and this is
Yeah,
I'm not.
Ain't no way.
I'm not coming in it like Joe Biden. This is the truth. This is legit happened. Thad had the ball python, and my dad got it for him as a reward for good behavior. 55-gallon aquarium had a wood lid on top, and the lid hinged on both ends, open like this, and that python could get out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it was like way late at night, and I'd woke up, and I swear I could see the snake going down the hallway.
Oh yeah, that
Now,
sucked.
it gets better. Probably an hour or so later, I swear that snake was in bed with me. And I was frozen, dude. I was like 10 years old. I was frozen, solid, scared, shirtless. Wake up the next morning, guess what's not in his cage?
The snake.
Snake wasn't there. 3 days it was gone.
Dude, you were getting sized up, Brian.
Listen, there's no way he could eat me. He was a ball python.
But he was sizing you
I
up.
was a very healthy kid at 10 years
Oh,
old.
he was sizing
Yeah.
you up, though, Ryan.
My mom found that snake in my laundry basket, which is right next to my bed.
Oh man, snake was just in your bed sizing you up.
Was it
Getting hungry.
though? Or was it all imaginary?
Oh, I bet he was.
May or may not have been
Talking
there.
about
Yeah. Let me tell you, that snake didn't
get
last
in
a week.
Get in my belly.
It didn't last a week after that.
Yeah, there's no way, man. Woo.
Nope.
Yeah.
Someone, probably me, put an end to life to that snake.
Yeah. And that house that I went, you opened the door and that snake was not friendly.
Oh,
Like
no.
I remember that snake like recoiled back and was like hissing and like, jumping clear across the freaking room at you, man. There's no way I would be hanging out with that snake. Like, dude, your snake is not friendly, not cool. It's trying to eat us, bite us.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, want to see something cool? Snake just roams around in my house. And it did not like nobody.
I don't think snakes are domesticated.
Oh, man. There's no way. There's no way I would live in a house like that with a snake just roaming around.
You know how many people think the snakes are friendly? They die from them.
Yeah, no way.
A lot.
Start wrapping around you,
One's too
constricting.
many.
Yeah, no thanks.
Something's happening here.
All right, Ryan.
You ready to wind her down? I'm starting to
done.
sweat, bro.
Yeah, I'm hot, dude.
I'm sad.
I've been sweating in here.
Come on, November.
Yeah. All right, man. Love you, brother.
It's going to be a good week, bro.
It's going to be the best ever, man.
It's going to be the best week
best
ever.
ever.
I believe that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know it.
Yeah. We love you guys.
One love. Shalom.